Join me in this watercolor painting demo to level up your skills from beginner to intermediate. We will explore painting a still life, mastering depth, dimensions, and color theory to bring our creations to life. Before we get started painting, let's explore how to create the pigments needed for our artwork. With just three pigments, that is French ultramarine, rose madder, and cabbage yellow, we can craft a spectrum of colors by varying their compositions. Initially, I used the raw pigment of French ultramarine to paint from dark value to light value. Next, I used rose madder, which is also a raw pigment, from dark to light value. Next, I blended a small amount of rose madder with French ultramarine to achieve a purple hue, which was once again painted from dark value to light value. When we blend rose madder with just a touch of French ultramarine, we create a reddish purple shade known as burgundy. By mixing French ultramarine with a touch of gamboge yellow, it creates a lovely bluish green hue. When the bluish green hue is combined with rose madder, it results in a grey color. Next, I'm mixing more gamboge yellow with a touch of French ultramarine to get a warm green hue. When this warm green hue is mixed with rose madder, you get a brown hue. This is the reference image for this painting, and here is the sketch needed for this painting. You can download these images from the link given in the description. I mixed a small amount of rose madder with French ultramarine and added a lot of water to this mix to paint the background. When the background is completely dry, I start by wetting the area inside the onion. We are going to use wet on wet technique to paint the onion. I mixed rose madder with small amount of gamboge yellow to get an earthly orange hue, which is used to paint the base layer of the onion. You can notice I'm purposefully leaving some white spaces which represents the highlights on the onion. Highlights are the areas where light falls directly onto the object, adding depth and realism to the painting. In the first layer, we applied a light value. Now, in the second layer, while the paper is still wet, we will be applying medium and dark values. Now I am mixing more rose madder with gamboge yellow to achieve a pinkish shade of orange. This mixture is applied on the left side of the onion while the paper is still wet. You can observe how I intentionally left some areas at the bottom of the onion untouched, maintaining their light value. Also, note the strokes I have painted that replicate the curved streaks of lines found on the onion skin. Next, I am mixing rose madder with small amount of French ultramarine to achieve a burgundy color. This hue is used to paint the darkest value of the onion. I discovered that the darkest value wasn't dark enough, so I increased the amount of French ultramarine mixed with rose madder. With less water in this mix, I achieved a very dark value which is applied to the onion as in the video. Using medium value of burgundy color, I added some strokes at the top of the onion. Using the mix of rose madder with more French ultramarine, I paint the darkest part of that specific area in this onion. Using the brown hue that we discussed in color theory, I paint the top part of the onion. Using the dark value of burgundy color, which is a mix of rose madder and French ultramarine, I paint the darkest part at the top of the onion. At this stage, the paper is completely dry, so I'm using wet on dry technique to paint at the top of the onion. You can observe how I'm adding all the details at the top of the onion to enhance its realism. Using medium value of burgundy color, I paint the crack on the skin of the onion. Using a brown hue, I paint the darkest value of the onion and the tone gradually shift from dark value to light value. By mixing rose madder with more Cambogello, we get an earthly orange tone, which is used to paint the torn skin of the onion. We are going to paint the root part of the onion using a brown hue. Additionally, we will add a dark value to the torn skin of the onion using the same brown hue. Next, I'm painting the shadow part of the onion using light value of French ultramarine mixed with small amount of rose madder. Next, I mixed more rose madder with French ultramarine to paint the darkest part of the shadow. The final step is done using lifting technique. I gently lift the pigment using a damp brush along the curved lines that we created in the sketch. It took nearly 25 minutes to complete this painting, but I sped up the process and edited the video to make it shorter. I hope you found the steps useful for painting a realistic still life. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye from Prema.